Welcome back. In this lecture, we will dive deep into the practical aspects of prompt engineering, focusing on some essential techniques that will help you interact effectively with large language models. Think of these as techniques in your toolbox for crafting better prompts and unlocking the full potential of generative AI. As we saw, rule number one for crafting a good prompt is to provide enough context to the LLM so as to generate a useful response. Imagine asking a friend for a restaurant recommendations. If you simply say, suggest a restaurant, they might be unsure of what you want. But if you provide them context, like I'm craving Italian food in downtown Manhattan with outdoor seating, they can then offer you a much more relevant suggestion. Similarly, providing context to an LLM helps it understand your needs and deliver more accurate and tailored responses. Let's understand this better by looking at some examples. For example, suppose our prompt only says write a letter to my boss. Now the LLM won't know what is the letter about, what should be the contents, what should be the tone, etc. So there is not enough context in this. In fact, in such a case, the LLM itself will ask you for more context, as you can see here. Now this is a real output from ChatGPT. You will see all these examples live in the practical lecture marked with a P at the end. So, better prompt would have been something like this. Here we tell the LLM the purpose of the letter, vacation request in this case, specific dates, as well as other details like the tone of the letter. This helps the LLM create a customized response for our need and give us a letter which we can copy quickly, review it, and then send it out. Let's take another example. We ask the LLM how to approach local council. Since we haven't provided enough details, the LLM will give a very generic response and it has a generic guide to go about our task. But instead, if we provide some context in terms of why we want to approach the local council and what are the different details that we want the LLM to give us, it can give us a more pointed response specifically for requesting funding in this case. It can provide a sample letter for this request in this case as well. Lastly, let us take a search example. Yes, LLMs now can do a web search for you as well. It uses something called as RAG or Retrieval-Augmented Generation, which we'll learn in the next section. Now, if you give a basic search saying give me headset options, LLM will give you a large variety of generic options, but these might not apply to your need. Instead, if we provide details like headset to listen to music and within a price range with compatible requirements, LLM then can give us very specific results. So you see from these examples that we shouldn't be lazy while writing the prompt and we should provide enough details to the LLM to give us better and more accurate results. Believe me, it is time and effort worth spending providing as many details as possible because otherwise it will be very frustrating and time consuming to keep refining the LLM's output to suit your needs. Okay, now let us look at the second element we discuss, providing step by step instructions or method to reach completion as a guide to the LLM through our prompt. Let's take an example. In this example, we have provided a list of 10 students and their marks in three subjects maths, English, and history. And we ask the LLM to find the cleverest student from the list. Since we have not provided any method, here the LLM will just calculate the average score for each student and tell you the one with the highest average score as the cleverest. Fiona in this case. But suppose we are selecting a student for a particular profession, say engineering, in which case plain average won't work. As for engineering, maths will have higher weightage than English and history. So, as a refined prompt, we provide the method to the LLM to find the cleverest student. We ask the LLM to take the weighted average based on defined weights for each subject. LLM then uses steps to get us the correct result for our purpose. As you can see, the result has now changed to Charlie in this case based on weighted average. Let us take another example. If we ask the LLM to give us the impact of automation in manufacturing industry, the LLM in this case will give us a laundry list and it might be too overwhelming for our purpose. Instead, if we tell the LLM how we want to get the output, the method part, it will give us a better result. See, here we ask the LLM to give us a comparative study for challenges and advantages using three challenges and advantages. The LLM could now understand our need and give us a more tailored response with a table showing the advantages and challenges in each aspect of manufacturing industry. So these two examples illustrate how important the key elements of any prompt are. Number one, context, give as much detail, and number two, the method, provide step by step instructions to the LLM to reach to the output. Now let us build on these key elements and start exploring additional prompting techniques. First is persona based prompting. In persona based prompts, we assign a persona to the LLM. Remember, LLM is trained on humongous amounts of data. Hence, assigning a persona immediately helps the LLM to focus on a subset of its training data. And this helps LLM give us a focused response. It also helps in telling LLM a lot of things in a very concise manner. We can not only convey the data focus, but convey other details like depth required in the answer, style that should be adopted, elements needed in the answer, and all of this by just assigning the persona. This saves us a lot of tokens due to its concise manner in which the prompt is written. Let us take an example. If we want the LLM to write code for us, we start by telling the LLM its specialty. Example, you are an experienced Java developer. Immediately, LLM takes many things into consideration before even attempting to execute the task it has been given. You can also add years of experience, or say you are a 10-year experienced developer who is adept at writing extremely efficient code and easy to maintain code. Be creative in assigning the persona. Another example is to assign it as an expert or scholar persona for any topic. In this example, we have assigned the persona of a scholar in Shakespearean plays. Or another example would be to provide the persona with some expertise. For example, an experienced investment banker before getting any guidance on investments from the LLM. Thus, assigning the persona should now be added to the two key elements we talked about, and this should be part of any prompt that we write further. Next, we will see the technique called as few shot prompting. Essentially, zero shot, one shot, and few shot prompts are where LLM is either given no example, given one example, or provided few examples, which can be the basis or can aid the LLM to execute its task. Let's see one by one. So for zero shot prompt here, we have not provided any example to the LLM to do the sentiment analysis of the review, the task at hand. We leave it up to the LLM to understand the review and provide us the sentiment in terms of positive, negative, or neutral. But a better way can be to provide a nuanced example, like we can provide a sarcastic example of a review and show the LLM how it can do sentiment analysis for such a review. This helps the LLM kind of learn on the fly and do better analysis of the reviews that follow. If we give more examples, it is called as few shot prompting. With more examples, the LLM can learn much better on the fly. Here we have given examples of a positive, negative, neutral, and a mixed review. This helps LLM understand the needs better and it can provide much better results while doing the analysis of the output. So, to summarize, with one shot or few shot prompting, we are teaching the LLM on the fly, and this goes a long way in getting more accurate results from the LLM. Next are template based prompts. Let us start with an example. Here we have provided a template of the output to the LLM and asked the LLM to fill in the blanks. So for each prompt, LLM will use this template to provide the output. This technique is extremely useful in getting standardized outputs and in situations where you want standardized reports or standardized summaries or even structured code, ensuring there is uniformity in format and structure of the output. All of the experienced prompters will tell you that they have to keep refining their prompts once they start interacting with the LLM. This, in fact, can be a good technique known as prompt chaining or multi turn prompting. For example, we can start with a prompt asking the LLM to write a short detective story. Then, once the LLM comes back with the completion as the first draft, we ask the LLM to rewrite the ending to reveal a twist. And then finally, we ask the LLM to create the title of the story. This way, we are iteratively building up on LLM's output and getting to a better and precise final output. So, we saw some basic techniques for writing good prompts. Number one, provide as many details as possible. Number two, guide the LLM with step by step instructions. And then techniques like assign persona, few shot prompting, template based prompts, and prompt chaining. In fact, with these basics under our belt, we should have a standardized way of our own when we write any prompt. Let me explain. Any prompt we write should have below elements. Number one, assign persona. Always start the prompt by saying you are XX, experienced writer, global manager, or any persona relevant to the task we want the LLM to perform. Then detail out the task that you want the LLM to perform. Provide all contextual data. Number four, provide step by step instructions for LLM to follow. And finally, specify the output format you want. If you follow this guidance of writing any prompt, the LLM's output will move towards higher degree of accuracy. Just memorize this and have it as a standard practice while writing any prompt. For example, we want to write a blog post or ask the LLM to write a blog post for us. Let us follow this guidance. Number one, we assign the LLM persona of a seasoned travel blogger. Number two, we provide the task details. Then we give details around the task about recent travel trends and interest in Southeast Asia, etc. Then we provide instructions on how we want the LLM to achieve this task. And finally, we provide the output format we want the LLM to follow. See, this prompt, which follows our guidelines from the previous slide, will yield high quality results from the LLM. Again, all our prompts might not have all the items every time. For example, for some prompts, you need not have the output element. But if you can include most of these in all your prompts, better are your chances of getting higher quality results from the LLM. All right. Now, there are few things you need to be aware of when you work with LLMs and send your prompts to GenAI system. Number one, do not send any sensitive data. Example, real names, addresses, phone numbers, etc. to the LLM. See, LLMs are deployed on public servers on the cloud, and hence security considerations are of utmost importance. We will see more details around security of the GenAI system in later section, but it is always a good practice not to send any sensitive or confidential data to the LLMs. Second, basic ethical considerations. Do not request or send any illegal or malicious content to the LLM. There are filters that LLMs have around such content, but we do not want our login to be flagged for any such attempts. Now, LLMs create completions for every request or prompt that you provide. These completions work on probabilistic algorithms, and hence you might get slightly different results for the same prompt every time you send it to the LLM. Output would be very close, but might not exactly be the same. And finally, do not trust the LLM completely. Though LLMs give great results and we have very high chance at accuracy by following the prompting techniques we discussed, finally LLMs provide results based on completion probabilistic algorithms. And there is always a probability of inaccurate or in some cases quote unquote imagined or hallucinated results back from the LLM. So it is always a good idea to check the responses we get from the LLM or the GenAI system. Great. Now we have the basic prompting techniques under our belt. Let us go to more advanced prompting in the next lecture.